Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of Off the Top of My Head podcast. Finally have a name, good stuff. So we're back. I'm Jordan again, followed by my 2 regular co-hosts, it seems. Luke, hello.
I'm back again. Who'd have thunk it?
And Young, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, good stuff.
Relaxing.
Right then, so we'll go through everyone's weeks, what we've been doing. Young, you want to kick us off? How you been?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's Tuesday, so not really. Monday.
What, is it?
Start of the week.
It is Monday.
I'll give you that,
Monday.
to be
I
honest.
thought it was Tuesday already. I was just lost. I mean, I'm not working till Saturday, so my days just kind of blur into one, and I don't really just forget what's going on. It's like, are we on Tuesday? We're at start of the week, middle of the week, something like that. My week's been fine. Everything's been fine so far. Went to work on Saturday. Didn't do much else last week. Just relaxed, play some World of Warcraft.
Good stuff. Hopefully you got them. You got the monk to 6 now, haven't you, as well? So leveling that. Luke, how's it gone? Good weekend.
Yeah, well.
Oh, that's a downer.
Okay weekend. Okay weekend. I mean, I don't know if there is such a thing as a good weekend at the moment. Liverpool drew 0-0 with Man United, so that was about as exciting as my weekend was.
It's not bad. Oh, I don't know. I guess both sides are going to say it's a bad score, aren't they? Really.
Well, United should win.
Well, here we go. You guys carry on from me. I'll just listen.
No, I'm saying, they should have. They had better chances. Liverpool didn't play that well, really, but Liverpool missed all the plays. So.
United dropped points in that game, not Liverpool.
Yeah.
You were going in with the form, got less injuries, but
City's going to win the league now, I think. Anyway, that's it. City's just going to keep winning and winning and winning. So, okay.
You reckon? You reckon they'll catch everyone up?
Yeah, well,
they win their game in hand.
They're top. Yeah, they are top. Basically, they'll win the game in hand. They've got a game in hand and they're 2 points behind. I think 3 behind.
Yeah,
1 behind. But yeah, I don't know. They're going to win. Definitely.
Get your bets on now, then, boys. Free money, it seems.
Nah, Leicester are going to come through. Late surge, Jamie Vardy.
No.
Come on.
Sure. Oh, God. Wow. Moving on. My week's been fine. Nothing's really happened. Again, working 3 days a week now. It's going all right. Doing a bit in the day, bit of marking here or there, but nothing much has happened really. Weekend just kind of goes by.
Taxpayer money, ladies and gentlemen. Taxpayer money.
Whoa.
So
Exactly, yeah. God. Right. Any games you've played this week, guys? Anything interesting? Luke, I know you've got a big one you've played this week that might be a bit of relation to last week. You want to carry on?
Yeah, I mean, after all the chat of last week, I tried to install KOTOR on my laptop. Laptop crashed and died and burned, so I downloaded it on my phone. And you'll be glad to hear I'm at the Starforge, and I've nearly completed it. So I'm going to get number 2 probably tomorrow.
How many hours have you grinded into this already?
19 hours it took me to get to the Starforge, which I'm quite happy with.
That's all right. That's not the end of the world. It's less than a... When did you get it?
I got it on Thursday or Friday.
It's probably quite a lot of time actually in those days, in that many days, but still.
Yeah, just
You've averaged over nearly 4.5 hours a day playing that game.
Oh yeah, that's not that bad actually. No, I think about it, 4.5, something like that.
But the problem is, and KOTOR is like the perfect game to play on your phone, because I can literally just close my phone and it carries on from exactly where it was.
Ooh.
I don't know why they don't make more games like that on your phone.
So you haven't even got to save it. You literally just close down the app and it's just done. It's just there when you open it back up again.
Yeah, and it's saved and it's ready to go. It's amazing. And I think I mentioned this to you last time. The actual game version is 4 discs to install. The app took me all of 2 minutes. And it's just like, why not reinvent old games on apps more?
Is it updated in terms of like not the graphics, but does it play like smooth still, like on your phone? It's not like
way smoother than my laptop ever did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no load times. There's no load times at all.
Probably easier because a phone would be more powerful than an old the laptops that would have been out when KOTOR came out. So it's one of those things, isn't it? Everything just moves on. They just scale it for a phone and then.
Wow. Well, that's basically what Luke's been doing for the past few days. Fair play. Young, any new games? Anything you've revisited?
No, been playing WoW, obviously. It's going great. Something actually dropped in Mythic this week, which is nice.
Oh,
which
God.
rarely ever happens.
Drop rates.
Just an endless grind. And,
Yeah,
it's not even worth.
I think you get to the point where you love leveling at the start, and then you hate leveling towards the end because you want to hit end game, and then you hit end game and it's really good. You do all Mythic Zeros, and then you just kind of go down to the dragon again of dailies. It's just like
the Mythics would be fine if they dropped a bit more loot. The problem is they're only targeting the hardcore people with that. Like it's only good for people who are doing like N like +10, because then all of a sudden the gear you get in your vault is just better than anything will drop for you anyway. So it's like
true.
But I just think like
you got to really know what you're doing as well for Mythic.
All I think they should change about it is in the weekly vault they make it so on your 3 options you get for doing the 3 different amount of things, if you've unlocked it, allow you to take the loot from it. So you could still only get a maximum of 3 loot slots. Let's say you'd done like, do you know what I mean? Like you did all 3. Yeah. You could then get 3 pieces rather than just 1. Because you've still to unlock 3, you've got to complete 10 mythic dungeons. That's a lot of time to go in, really. Like when you think like the keystones are 40 minutes, usually 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's at least that, and a lot of the times, like if it's a pug, you're failing it. So it's like, okay, it took 40 minutes instead. So it's a big time investment, really. That's like 400 minutes in like a week.
Yeah, true. I love how the instant just like, if you pug, you're failing definitely. There's no confidence with any of the players in the community.
You're definitely failing. Obviously, you can still fail if you like playing with people from your guild and stuff. But
yeah, true.
I don't know. I just feel like this. I had one like yesterday where literally we got into the game. The tank pulled the first trash moth. We killed it. He ran forwards. I think the healer got hit by something stupid, and then the tank died, and he just instantly left. It was just like just on the trash. It was like, well, that's that.
So that's when it's just someone's key just done with. It's just like you ain't finishing the time now at all. It's awful. God, yeah. I'm gonna say games wise this week. I don't know why. I think I was just at some point a bit bored in the week and thought I just want something quick and easy. While I'm just trying to chill. I just picked out Slay the Spire again and just like smashed a few Ascension runs on that. Hitting like when you just somehow the perfect deck just comes together. It's just like the Emperor's New Groove meme, Kronk, where he's like, oh yeah, it's all coming together. Like you just like go from like enemy to enemy, pick like you go like poison and pick like Snecko's skull, and then oh god, it's just you just feel like God. It's just great. Oh, it's great, and it's so addictive as well. I've seen you putting a few late night runs in as well. To be honest.
Yeah, well, I had the game for ages anyway, but then I've kind of forgotten about it until you were like, "Oh, play this one." Okay, yeah, I might have a go. I didn't realise I hadn't completed it at once, and then I've completed it with the rogue, like the poison guy, and the warrior, and I just can't complete it with the friggin'
who do you mean?
defect or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Oh, I quite like that one. You can't just like stack all the defense ones with the frost. Yeah,
I can get to like the 3rd level. I keep getting to the 3rd level, and it's just like I can't get past it. I just take too much damage.
Yeah, I think it's quite hard. Also as well, like depending on whatever deck you build, some decks are better against certain end-game bosses as well. So if you're going for a deck that like just like all in ones on turn 1, but against like the time here when you only get like 10 cards a turn and it just stops, you're a bit like fucked. So it's a bit tricky. But yeah. Anyway, seems like I've had a good week. Right then, main topic this week. It's something that if you've been playing games, I guess more on the computer, but in general you would have heard of it. League of Legends. Gives a shiver to all of our spines. So yeah, let's start off with when we first knew about it, talked about it, played it. And Young, I'm going to start with you because I think you're probably the one out of all of us, I think, that found it first. So where did you hear it from?
Playing WoW. Again.
Wow, I
it
didn't
all
know
comes
that.
back to WoW. I can't remember what year League came out. We were playing Wrath, I'm pretty sure, is what we were playing at the time. And there was just people in the I can't remember who it was, just some random people in the guild, and they were on about this game that was in beta, and you could had a key if you wanted to play, and it's like a Dota game. And I had Warcraft 3, which is obviously where it all comes from. So I had Warcraft 3 Throws and Thrown. I had a custom game mode on there called the Defense of the Ancients, and that's what League's basically based off of before actual Dota got made on Steam and everything.
Yeah.
And I never really played it on Frozen Throne, so I was kind of like, I was like, alright, whatever, I'll play. I remember my first character was called like Nefarian or something like that, after like Nefarian in a I'd been playing it. And I just never really got it. The first time I played it, I played it for about a week, 2 weeks, and then stopped. And then a couple of years later, the same thing happened again. I was playing WoW, and some people in the guild I was in were on about it, and then I started playing it again. And I don't know, I just really got into it. It was that was before, so it was like in season 2. It would have been on whatever year that was. But I started playing it, really enjoyed it, and then I ended up just because we obviously always play games together. Saying to you like, oh, you should install this game. Actually, it's pretty good. And it's free.
Yeah, I honestly, I remember I was in my not this house, my last house, the house before. I think I think it was supposed to be the summer holidays or some like half term or something. You just came in with the laptop and you were like, oh, young Jordan got this new game. I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. Playing games a lot all the time practically at that point. And it was like and obviously we'd never played a MOBA before, so I didn't really know like how the game kind of went. It was a bit kind of I think Young's froze a bit there. He'll be back in a sec, I'm sure. But no, like he comes in, says, "Oh, I've got this brand new game. Test it out. Should be fine." And I think it's quite easy when you go from new of this similar genre games to one another. It's quite easy where like if you pick up COD and then you pick up Halo, it's still like first person, that kind of thing. It's a bit easy. And if you go like an RPG kind of game, sometimes there's like the main quest and the side quest. But this brand new like thing came out, and it was kind of like, yeah, you choose a character, and then next time you choose another character. Oh, you'll be back in a sec, I'm sure. We
froze again.
We can still hear you. We can still hear you. Don't worry. And then then it's kind of just the brand new thing. I remember trying to level up, and there you are. Not knowing. Don't worry.
It might freeze again. I don't know what's going on. It just randomly freeze. It doesn't just stop. It freezes completely. I was talking and my camera was still moving, and I hadn't realised because it froze in both of your faces in like a listening thing. You both like, and then I was just suddenly realised I was like, hold on a minute. They're really listening intently to what I'm saying here. This doesn't make much sense. There's no wandering at all. They're just like, fucking hell, what a genius. Yeah, keep talking.
Never heard of this chap.
How intriguing. Yeah, great.
And then.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, you came around, we played it for a bit. I think we, because you have to get to level 30 to play rank properly, and we just sat down, and there's two main things I remember before I hit level 30, which was huge. I think at the very, very start, I played Taric, the OG Taric, with, just the point-and-click stud. Insane. And then I was playing that for a while, because in my head I was like, oh, I could be a tank and a healer, do damage, all this kind of stuff. And we also, because obviously before they did all the choosing where you go, you have to type in chat as quickly as you can where you want to go. And we'd go in like, Young, we'll go bot lane. Bot, duo bot. It's like, great. So I think I did that to level 11. And then my other fondest memory before hitting 30 was the first time I ever saw someone play Lee Sin in my game. And I was like, oh, I've never seen this character before, he's doing all right. And he even had the Bruce Lee skin, and I was like, me and Young, bot lane, chilling, not even trying to last hit, just fucking hitting shit. And then this guy, this blue thing comes out the bush, hits me. I'm like, oh, that's all right. He flies across the map, kills me. He then jumps to Young, kicks him. Young flies somewhere else, and I'm like, is this champion dude or this one thing? I'm like, yeah, he is. And I'm like, what? Easily a smurf at that kind of point. He goes I think 21-0 for the whole game, kills every single person, and I think from 11 to level 30 I was like, yeah, I'm playing that champ every single game. Didn't know what I was doing at all. I wrote down, do you remember MOBA? Do you remember MOBA?
The nightmare for me began.
Do you remember MOBA Fire for all the guides and that you used to have? You used to go and see what to build. I remember going on there and it was like Lee Sin guide, and it was like build this, build this, build this. I wrote it down on a piece of paper and put it in my wallet and went around, and that's what I built every single game, level 11 to level 30, and I did it every time.
How often do you need your wallet in a game?
Why would you just hold tab?
I don't know, alright.
Here's my wallet, that's just, you can bookmark it,
And even then, he went down a straight line, and it was like, if the enemy's got more magic damage, go down this route, and I had to show arrows and everything. I remember, it was great. Oh, I missed that. It was great.
So you built a Lee Sin flowchart that you kept on your persons at all times, just in case you were in a bank. Right?
Just in case I was in a robbery and I was going, I need to get out of this. Hold on. Wall jump out, quick. Kick the security guard over. Dragon Rage him over there. Nah, but that was my kind of introduction to the game. I must have to say, unfortunately, I don't know if Luke likes me anymore after mentioning this. Luke, how did you get into the League of Legends?
You ruined my life. I was doing wonderfully well at university, enjoying my social life, really getting out, spreading my wings. And then this motherfucker turns up and goes, oh, do you want to play this game that's really, really addictive and will encapsulate your entire social life? Yeah, and there goes my third year. So that was how I got into it. I started with the big man himself, Blitzcrank, on top lane, and just you know, made my way to platinum from there because.
I forgot you started with that as well. Jesus Christ!
I mean,
Strong.
you know, who could you want as a better top laner than Blitzcrank? No one's getting away from you. You're just going to walk after him, knock him out,
Just
pull him.
very true. There is no count. How did I not see it before?
There is no count.
I think.
But then I also had a few sort of. I took advantage of a few champions when Gragas was a real big boy mid laner, and he was great fun to play.
So much fun that was, yeah.
Swain as well when he was a mid laner.
Oh, I love Swain.
Just click to do 12% damage.
And a dot for you, and a dot for you. It was great. Oh god.
But now I'm an average support or jungler, I guess, and it serves a purpose. It's more. I use League now as more of a way to de-stress, and I just abuse the community because they've abused me for so many years. So I'm just giving my own back.
Just giving it back, put it straight back in. Yeah, I guess like going like you just mentioned, going from that, we spoke about when we started playing. How would you say the kind of like learning curve of actually kind of like getting used to the game? Because you can say you can get used to what the game is and how it's played, but how much of it is it actually like, right, you know what things happen, you know what things do now, like now you actually need to know how to play the game properly, and we're talking about like where specific champions need to play, how literally smite works properly, what champions go where, when you need to last hit, when you should do, like how much do you think, like how hard do you think the learning curve is as this game compared to like others?
I'll let Young go. He looks like he's ready for this one.
I think it just depends. Depends on depends on how you get into the game, really. Because if you get into it on your own without anyone else, it's like a completely different experience. If somebody like says to you, "Why don't you come along and play?" Because if they already have like a base, it was different. I suppose it's different from like when I told you to come and play. Because I think I was like level 5 or something when I asked you to come and play. So I was still shit at the game. It wasn't like I'd played it. I'd played it for like a week and been like, "Oh, come and play this game." But you know, like if you got asked to join the game by someone who'd already played the game, like was playing ranked and stuff like that, it'd be completely different because they could actually teach. Like you wouldn't just stumble your way to level 30 and be like, "Oh yeah, I know what I'm doing," when you know nothing really. Like you'd know everything from the start. So even though you'd be leveling up, I think it would just help. It would mean you were a lot better by the time you hit 30. Because when I hit level 30, I still was like I could play ranked, but I was still dreadful. I'm still like bronze.
Yeah, true. I guess I think when I hit 30, like even getting from like bronze, I think I started in bronze 4, and at the time be like, "Oh, that's all right." And when you get, I think when you first realise you go from bronze to silver, you're like, "Oh, I'm doing it. I'm insane. I've gone up a tier." And then like once you actually start to learn a bit more, you're like, "Oh no, I'm not."
All the way up to the top.
Yeah. What about yourself, Luke? How do you reckon the learning curve is in terms of? Probably you're the most recent one, even though it's a few years ago now, starting playing the game. How different was it to like every other game you've played and actually trying to get good at like the rank side of it?
I think it's one of those games that you got to, like Young said earlier, if you've got someone in there sort of educating you outside of the mechanics, then you learn a lot quicker. It's a game that you've definitely got to be up to speed with. Not definitely, but there's advantages to being up to speed with the latest patches, the latest champions coming out, the latest balancing, because there is clear advantages to using certain champs and items, etc. And I think if you're just sort of a regular Joe and you're just going to turn on and play, you're always going to be at a slight disadvantage to those people who are sort of embedded into it.
Yeah.
But the learning curve, yeah, I'd say it's pretty shallow, and then you hit sort of maybe gold, platinum, maybe somewhere around there, and then it sort of shoots up quite quickly, and then you got to start talking about, you know, what you're doing outside of just you individually, but you as a team. And that, I think that's where the game really takes a turn, is when you start relying on other people, and you actually feel the need that it's quite difficult to carry on your own, or, you know, one person carrying on their own would easily be beaten by 5 people who kind of know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because they'll just go, okay, let's stun that Katarina and she can't pentakill us. And now all of a sudden that 10-0 cat is fucked and the rest of the team's done for. So I guess that's probably how I'd come at it.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I kind of feel like I don't know how if they want to. I don't know how many more new players they turn away. Then, for example, say if you're level 1 and you want to start playing, and all you want to do really is like learn a different champ. Oh, I've just pressed R on Malphite for the first time. This is like amazing kind of thing. Would you feel a bit turn away from the game if it was like, oh, remember to lasset all the minions? You've got to spend money on these things that just show you vision, which sometimes no one ever walks in. You've got to make sure not to go into turret range. Oh, make sure that once you've done this, you've got to go and take the dragon. It's a bit like, would you be a bit more of like do I really want to do all these like small things? I just want to kind of play and press my abilities. Is that kind of like, do you think that's probably why they didn't put it in that early? Or is that something they thought you're just going to get a hold of as you play the game?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think at the start it's very much just enjoy having hundreds of characters.
Enjoy it while you can, because it doesn't get any
better. Enjoy it
better.
while you're 90. Because when you learn the true community and what it's really like, you'll hate yourself for being addicted.
Yeah.
But I think you're right, and I think the only way you learn those things is by watching the game, by playing a lot of the game, doing your education outside of it. Because if, like Young said, if you're playing on your own, you'll never learn unless you watch something else, like streams or someone else play.
Or just a friend. So yeah, Young, any comments on that, do you think?
I don't think it's necessarily like a bad thing. Like you're saying, turn people. I know what you mean. Will it like? Does some people think about it and think like, oh, it's just too much effort or something like that? But
yeah.
I think it's no different to really anything when you break it down bit by bit sounds complicated. Like you can make anything sound super complicated if you go, and you've got to think about this. You got to think like, in FIFA, you've got to think about what your opponent's doing. You've got to think about what you did, where you're going to pass it. You've got to think about where you're going to pass it after that. You've got to think about if you're going to shoot. You're going to, they're not complicated necessarily. I think League is complicated in terms of knowing what like all syncs together well, and like the team building side of it and stuff like that. Like what you can do to counter that and things like that. That's where the complicated bits come from. I think. I don't think it's necessarily complicated to play. It's just because it's all pretty much all down to reaction speed and like eye-hand coordination, hand-eye coordination. That's why that sounded weird. Because it's all down to that. Like obviously, that's where the difference can come from as well. But you can get better from learning. But if somebody's got just unbelievable hand-eye coordination and like they learn what champions are good and stuff like that, then you can't really stop them.
True.
So the game can still be really simple like that. It's just I think you tend to think about the game more on like a thinking level when you get to what we will do when you play for a bit and then you realise, okay, well I'm not like some god at this. I don't just have this like crazy innate ability to just smash this out or play for ages. You start thinking more about like, well, okay, what is good? Oh, okay, well you can pair these things up and that makes a difference. And that makes you stronger and then you can be better and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
It's good. So many things. So why do we... you hear so many things about why it's so negative and why you shouldn't start playing and the community, this and that. And we'll definitely talk more about that. But why do we enjoy it then? How many times we've said, I'm never going to play this game. This is awful. I'm going to uninstall and not come back to this. Why do we still play? Why do we still come back? Again, we do it. We laugh. We do it. Why do we still want to play this game?
So I'm Batman. Why do we follow Mr. Wayne?
Why?
I think, Young, carry on. Why do you like to play it? Why do you want to play it again and again?
I went to fact I'm not playing it at the moment. But the reason I think you end up coming back time and time again, I think I still have played every season that's been out pretty much. I might have missed one. I think, and I still have got I played to and actually got to gold in every single one since I got there the first time. But that's more just. There's something about it because it's a competitive game. I think it's what gets you addicted to League. I think really, in my opinion, that's what happens to me. Is if I start playing it a bit again and I play a couple of ranked games, if I'm in like bronze 2 or something, there's something inside of me where I look at it and go, oh, bronze 2, taking the piss, bronze 2. Like, what? Incredible Mr. Young? I don't think so. And then I feel like I've just got to play until I get to at least gold, and then. I don't know what it is about that, but for some reason, then I just go, I'm gold, that's fine, whatever. I did that without trying, really, sort of thing, and it kind of makes me. I'm like, okay, it's that competitive thing. That's what drives the game, really. I think if it didn't have that, if it was all just casual, I don't think it would have lasted as long. Fair
enough. Yeah. So, competitiveness. Luke, what about you? Why do you keep going back to it? Because I see you online. I'd say a bit more. I'd say Young at the moment. What do you enjoy about it the most? Why do you keep playing?
For me, it's like like Young said, being competitive. It's nice when the team works together, but that is once in a million. That sort of, community feeling of, being able to work as a team and accomplish something. Or when you're on your own and you fucking beast like 3 people and you're just like, yeah, what's up? Suck in, man. I've just fucking done all 3 of you. But also for me, like, I find it quite therapeutic at times to just go on there and unleash. Like, if someone is being terrible, I will take a ban and just tell them how it is and just be like, I'll do it in a nice way, like, kind of.
Piece of shit, you suck,
like, you piece of shit, you should have taken that dragon. Like, there's always an objective behind it, which I'm kind of pushing them towards. But
so
yeah, it's fun. It's an easy fun game.
I like that. I think what I like about it is, I think they kind of drew a lot of good new players back with all the new game modes. That was good. And like TFT, we'll get onto the other stuff that like Riot Games have made. But I think what I enjoy again is more just like the team games. Like, if you think back to the time when you probably enjoyed it the most, we did Clash, didn't we? Like early last year. Do you remember? Was it like May or April time? And like, I think actually like when you know every person and you're playing with them and you've got the same goal and you then know who's on the other end, if they make a mistake, it's like, well, they haven't just done that because they want to be a dick about it. It's probably actually a mistake. You feel a bit like you don't worry as much and you kind of want to do well. So I think what I like about it is just playing with people that you know and like playing the game with someone else. I think if you really want to play it by yourself, then I don't know what's wrong with you, to be honest. If you want to keep doing solo queue again and again, there's nothing worse. But duo queue, like, or flex queue. Say again?
Even duo queue is like, there's been times when me and you have played and you're like, even if you both play well, it's just, if you're like bot lane together or something and your team just mid and top just ins, it doesn't matter if you've gone like 3-0 in lane, because it's like, yeah, we did well. Oh, wait a minute, there's these 2 champions that are going to come and one-shot us both. Ah!
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. Okay, let's say like flex queue or like Clash or rank 5s kind of thing. That was good. Like,
Clash and rank 5s are really good.
Yeah, I think just the playing with people that you know, that probably is the biggest appeal. I'd say is good. Again,
Yeah,
I think.
Sorry.
I think. Oh no, carry on. So I was going to our next topic. So say what you're going to say.
Oh, all I was going to say is that I when you said we played Clash the other week, I said I carried and everyone was silent. I wanted to bring it up as a point of contention. To be honest with you.
Well, let's stay silent then.
Like, I was thinking, I was waiting for like a yeah, well done, you.
Yeah, definitely.
Rolling back the years.
Oh, God. Anyway, we'll move definitely swiftly on after that. Luke was mentioning about telling people what they've done wrong in the game, what's happened. So, why does it have this bad reputation? Why do people, when they think of the LoL community, why do they perceive it as someone that it's just awful and everyone's out to kill each other? Like, why? And bring it back then, Luke. When you said that person did wrong, why would you never then stop to think, oh, do you know what? Maybe they just misplayed and did something by accident. It's straight to the, this guy's crap. He did it wrong. He did it on purpose. He's an awful player. He's an awful human being, and I never want to see him again in my life. Why are we to the extreme, like, so quick?
I think it's probably a combination of a few of the things we've said so far. Young mentioned earlier, he touched upon, expecting that he is a gold player. He knows deep down that minimally he's a gold player. And if you're sat in silver or bronze and you're working your way to gold and consecutively you get some guy who's fed or disconnected, the patience that you have with the game quickly falls off a cliff, because all 5 players are so key. And if you drop one player, well, it's game over. And you have no control of that, and you're penalised to the full extent of the law to that. And it's like, why am I penalised? Why am I losing points? Because some clown doesn't have a laptop, and I can't talk because I'm that clown right now.
Yeah, you kind of feel trapped in a way that like you are powerless for 15 minutes to do nothing apart from
minimum.
Yeah,
minimum, and sometimes it could be 40 minutes because they might not want to surrender, and then you're like, I fully believe that I'm better than this rank, and I'm now being dragged into a nearly an hour-long game with some clown who just is feeding.
When people refuse to surrender, it just makes my blood boil. Like, you're in like a fucking 0 to 20 10-minute game. You're like, well, I mean, I think we can all agree we've been royally fucked here, and it's just over. Like, we tried, lads. It is what it is. It just wasn't our game. We'll go into the next one. And then like 3 people are yes straight away, and then all of a sudden this duo are like, well, we could probably pull it back if we just
throw it.
70. Yeah, it's like, fucking won't. It's impossible to throw from there. It's like a fucking 5% chance.
And I also,
Well,
I think it's a bit too selfish. I think it's a bit selfish, this game as well, in that, especially like you say earlier, if you're playing solo queue or duo queue, you know that you've got maybe a pool of 4 or 5 champs that you're good at and that you're comfortable with, maybe less in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't get one of those champs, or if someone counterpicks you, you're almost screwed from the off. And people aren't because it's so solo or duo orientated, people aren't looking at the wider team. So they're not looking at what's the team comp of my team versus what's the team comp of their team. And I think that's where the learning curve comes in, when you start to realise what the synergies are like between teams and players, and do you have enough AoE, do you have enough AP, do you have enough AD, who's the tank, who's the heat, that sort of comes into play at the higher echelons of the game. And I don't think people look at that enough.
The lofty echelons that we've all reached.
Yeah, so I think then the bad rep just comes from, again, like, people are competitive, they want to do the best, be the best. You don't want to waste your time with some of the people that don't feel the same drive or the same like passion to play as well as they can. So yeah, I can see that. So in terms of how League is now, what problems did the game have before and then? So we've talked about the community, we talked about the toxicity, goodness me, and such. Yeah, nice one. And so they've tried to solve it in the past. They tried all that, like, what was that system called where you went online and like you could like look through chat logs and like try and ban people? They let people
tribunal.
They try people to do that. You used to then be able to report after a game. Then they realised you need to report during champ select because people do bad stuff then. Then they realised that you need to report other times as well. You can mute people, mute these things. They've tried all of this stuff, yet the community is still the same place. People are just like having a go at everyone else in game, left, right, and centre. Like, is it ever going to change? Do we ever think it's going to change from what it is?
It's just what people are like. That's literally like that in every online game like that. It's not just League of Legends. It's just, I think the thing with League of Legends is it's just the biggest one. That's why everyone's like, oh, it's the worst. It's like, well, that's just the most people play it. It's not because it's any different. Like, there's probably the same proportion of people if you looked at it on a whole. It's just that it's a bigger game. Because like every single game online, like even when you played Overwatch and shit like that, like you get flamed the fuck out of in that if you were bad. Any online game you play, any kind of competitiveness in it, people will fan the shit out of you if it's a team game and you play badly. So good.
Yeah, understandable, to be honest. I guess League is a way to just get that kind of regard of being the most toxic game, because there are probably more players playing that than any other games as well, so it does come across like that. Let's talk about some things that they've probably done well. So we spoke about Clash, good, 5v5 teams. What about anything else? Anything else we thought that was good that they did? TFT, new game modes, bringing in a bit of that auto chess. Was it just auto chess before from a different company that made it? I think.
On Dota, wasn't it?
Was it Dota first? I think they made it. They're quite popular now.
It was on Dota. Like I think you can make like mini games on Dota or something. I guess on Dota it was called Dota Auto Chess, and then they made Dota Underlords, I think they called it, which was their auto chess game. And then Riot just, League of Legends is the same way. They just did what they always do. Like they wait till like another game gets big and they go, we'll make one of those. Hearthstone, we're gonna make a card game. We'll make an auto chess game.
Yeah, true. I think stuff with like
we're gonna make an MMO.
I think introducing Ultra Rapid Fire, that was a good thing. That was pretty fun. Brought a bit of the stress away, just having a good laugh. Twisted Tree Line 3v3 kind of died to death. No one carried on playing that. Yeah, I think I'd say TFT is probably one of the newest things that's come out. What about any other games related to League? Anyone played any of the other Legends of Runeterra or the Wild Rift kind of stuff on your phone? Anything at all?
I haven't touched either of them.
Touched neither of them. I've played the Runeterra, playing like a lot of card games myself. It was quite good. I know from the YouTube things I watch, they play it a lot as well. It seems good. Probably needs a bit more behind it, a bit more of a following, I think, because obviously you kind of want to import people from League to trying to play it because they can relate to the characters, but at the same time, most people that play League just want to play the League game and not actually go and deviate to some other different game instead. So yeah, that's quite nice.
I thought it was alright.
It was
a decent game. It wasn't bad. I've still got it. Well, I'll do because it was free, wasn't it? But I thought it was alright. I thought the reward system was really good in it, actually. That was one thing.
Yeah, a lot of people have mentioned actually. It's a lot of the games you kind of like in Hearthstone, you used to be able to like uncraft a certain cards for some gems and then buy that for a card that you actually need. So it's not like you need to buy packs and just like roll lucky to get something good. How do we feel about in-game purchases like loot boxes and such? The only real thing I'd say is just what else would you use RP for apart from buying like cosmetics for champions? Is that something that interests us in the game, or is it just like it's nice if it's nice?
It's nice if it's nice. It's nice if you want something in specific, and if not, you're just kind of gifted it over time. Just rewards for playing the game. I can't really see any other way that you'd monetize the game really, other than visuals. It's too competitive to give any other type of edge or anything.
Yeah. I don't think they'd really give in that. Yeah, I'm going to say, like, I think the introduction to the loot system, that was a good thing. Something just kind of like to keep you going a bit more. It wasn't just like you play and you play and you play. You might pick up like a key here or there or a chest. And then introduce lots of things like tiers of like champions, how many takedowns you might get. So I think they've put a lot of those cosmetic things in to make it look nicer and make you seem as if like you're amazing on like one champion. If you've got a mastery score of something else of like 7, and I've seen like people with like 2 million mastery score on like some real one-trick ribbons, or for example. So it's quite a nice way of showing how good you think you are at a certain champion, which is nice. But again, don't have to pay for it, so that's quite an added bonus. So we like the game. We play it a lot. We still do, even though we we don't like.
I don't know if I go as far as liking the game.
Okay, so to be able to like the game. What would you improve if you could? If you could take it and improve it, and let's say that you can't touch like the actual people, you can't influence the people. If you could change the game in some way, how would you change it to make it better, or better in your eyes?
It's hard. It's really hard to, because I mean, if you're talking about for the single person, if you're talking about for solo queue or for like duos or something like that, I think the mechanic, I think the champs, I think the concept are absolutely spot on. I think they've got to deal with the community better, and it's really hard to do that, like you say, without touching the people. And whether or not you can have some way of getting like a pool of people and saying, okay, for this season, you are being pooled with 20 people, and you can only play with those 20 people. And between those 20 people, you'll have a team of 5 playing at any one time. And that way, there's a bit more ownership on those people to say, okay, you now get to know these 20 people a little bit better. And if you fuck them over, they're going to be a bit more annoyed with you because you now aren't going to leave. You're not going to, maybe they need to do more background checks on PC. I keep coming back to the PCs because my PC is shit, so I'll take that one off the table. But I think they need a bit more ownership about the community, and that's kind of the only way I can see them doing it. Is maybe pooling groups of people and saying that's your group, and between you've got to do as well as you can. That's all I can think of.
Fair enough. I think community's a big thing, definitely. Young, make the game better. What are you going to do?
No, that was actually a pretty good idea. I like that. I just think remove the amount of burst damage in the game, basically. That's the reason I'm kind of not playing it again now. It's because when I played in the kind of pre-season bit, everything in the game is just like one shot. Once it gets past a certain point now, it feels like. I mean, I play like quite a bit of AD carry, so maybe that's why. But it's just not very fun thinking to yourself. I can play really, I can really try. I feel like I'm locked in for like 25 minutes or something like that, and then this other person just gets to be able to just blow me away. It's like, don't get me wrong, if they've done well, they should be strong as well. But I just don't think. I think a lot of the game has turned into really quick burst, and it doesn't feel like there's any chance to outplay, because it just feels like, okay, as long as they do their job, then I'm screwed. Unless it's something that's obviously dodgeable. If somebody can just like flash to you, throw a skill, and then another skill, and you're dead. It's like, well, unless I'm scripting, how am I meant to stop that? Unless I can insta flash the second they flash, I'm done. So, I don't know.
I understand what you mean, but then there's got to be a certain regard where like some champions' role are just to do. You can't just have like damage over time and like just DPS kind of champions. You're gonna need someone that's gonna do like the burst and that kind of stuff. So
I think there can still be like assassins and like champions who are meant to hit. I don't really have a problem with like a Z one shots me. It's just like, okay, well, it's a Z, it's meant to. That's not what I mean. I mean, like, just in general, the game has got to the point where it's like, it's not just those champions. It's not just like Zed and Kat and Akali that are just like one shot on you. It's like random champions. You just like, well, why? It's not the case of the actual, champion being just like stupid. It's like the items and the way they've done them, and the way they sync up and stuff. They just get access to these like crazy burst sequences, and it's like, well,
yeah, it's like a volley bear rocks you top lane or something, and he's not meant to, and you're like, well, how did that happen?
Yeah, when you be like a bruiser, you just get done by. True. Yeah. I think what I'd improve, I think it's probably just more of just gameplay. I kind of feel all the algorithms they do when you kind of report players, like, that just never works. It's proven to never work since, like, the whole game they've ever made it. They do need something more human-based, a bit more... I know it's going to take so much time and effort. Like, you can't have people reading through comments and reading through, like, pings and reports and everything like that, and you hear stories of people just, like, inting games away, and you check their, like, profile, and they've inted the last 20, and you realise yourself, like, why has this person just not been banned or not been done, even though you definitely think that maybe at least 2 or 3 people each of those games would have tried to like ban them and like report them. But yeah, I think something along the lines towards that as well. And I think what Lou mentioned before, with the second someone makes a mistake, I think there's quite a bit more of an ownership on us to be a bit more like, maybe he just made a mistake and I can't just tell him he's an absolute idiot straight away, or maybe he just hasn't done this right, or I don't know, maybe he just overthought and underestimated what was going to happen. Like, I think so many times you're so quick to judge in the game. Like, for example, if you're just mid lane or anywhere else but bot, and you just see like double kill bot lane, you don't know that like the enemy might just have like absolutely just like gone off on them for a second and just killed them, and then they kind of like get a double kill. Like, your instant thought is just like, they're absolute trash, and I'm not going to think of them any other part in the game at all. Now that's it. They're just gone. If you're like in a lane and the jungler comes to gank, and Lee Sin, I don't know, wards in and then misses a Q, your prediction of him now is just like, he's awful. I'm never going to trust that guy again. There's no like second chance. There's no thinking like, oh, do you know what, we can do this now, or there's no positivity. I feel it's always like you've got to meet everyone else's expectations, or you're just worse. I think as a whole, everyone else can probably do a bit better in that regard, I'd say.
Yeah, I think the way you get your league points in ranked could do with maybe looking at on an individual basis, because if you're being penalised for what happened between 5 of you, and yet you individually have done amazingly in that game, you should get an element of reciprocation to say, okay, you're not going to get as many points deducted, or we might even give you points. I know it's hard to do, and it requires a lot of reviews, and there's probably no real way you could do that. But they've done it where you get ranked. You can get an S on a champion if you do really well. If you got an S, surely you are worthy of getting some points. Like, even if it's just like +1, or even if it's neutral, if you just get neither positive or negative. The fact that you're being penalised for everyone in your team when, like you say, someone could just give away a double kill bot, or someone could forget to smite Nash, and then they go and end it. There's so many easy variables that could lose you a game, and you're just like, I didn't deserve that.
Yeah, and you are powerless.
You're powerless, and it leaves such a sour taste in your mouth. If that happens 1 game, 2 games in a row, that's you done for the evening. And then your next game, you're going to go into it being toxic, because you're thinking, well, the last 2 games, someone fucked up Nash. Now I hate everybody in this game, and if you talk to me or if you do anything wrong, I'm going to go straight down your throat, just like the last guy. So, I think... I mean, what was that?
Pause.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. There's kind of... I think, obviously, with so many things you've like in life that you find frustrating, and you think like, oh, I want to do this, but I need to take a break. You instantly you'll just queue up again and you'll just play. And how many times you'll be like, oh, just take a break and think it through. Like, you just don't. You just carry on. And then during the champ select, you're like, that guy last game was absolutely shit. And the next game you'll start and you'll just have that like, I hope everyone isn't shit again. It's just like the pessimist is just like always there, like whatever someone's going to do. You're just questioning everything. It's a vicious cycle, really.
And it's how long it is as well. We touched on it. It's how long that goes on for. Like, you've got the load time of getting into the game, So you find a game, there's a minute, 2 minutes. You then get into Champ Select, there's another 5 minutes, 10 minutes easy. You then load the game a couple of minutes. Then you play a game of minimum 15 minutes. It could go up to like an hour. And by the end of it, you're like, I've easily wasted an hour. And if I've been trapped in an hour with 4 clowns that have pissed me off, and that happens, like I say, 1 game, 2 games in a row, you're just there like, I've wasted 2 hours and I've done nothing but get pissed off.
Yeah.
And that's really frustrating when you're like, I've played a game I want to go out and enjoy.
Yeah, true. I understand that. I think I like that idea, you know, of like getting like maybe an A, like minimum, maybe gives you like neutral, maybe like an S will give you like, I don't know, like +1, or maybe up to maybe up to +5 if it's like an S plus, just in case you go like do something wrong, because again, sometimes you are just powerless on the result of the game, depending on how much you think you could have done. So I like that idea.
Yeah, I think the only problem with that might be if people start playing for stats then rather than playing to like win. Like if somebody looks and goes, oh, I think actually this game might be a bit hard to win, rather than going for like the players, I'll just try and get a kill where I can, and then I'll just keep my farm high, whack a load of water. You know, they'll still be playing well because they have to.
Yeah,
you have to play at a certain level to get it. Like I don't mean they'd be playing bad, but maybe some people would be a bit less like they just look at it and go, oh, I'd rather make sure I get the S.
Yeah, I see what you mean for that as well. So there's definitely 2 sides to it, especially if like, you know, you're already like maybe like doing pretty well.
I don't think people would start going to the game and think that, but you know, if suddenly the game looks like it's going to be a bit tough, but you're 2-0-0, you go, okay, maybe I can still do something here, and I'll just try and get an S myself and not go too hard, but just always play the best conservative sort of.
Yeah. I still think that's better though than flaming as and AFKing and
getting -20 for just doing the best you can. Jesus.
Yeah. So I think those 2 things, creating like a community pool that you play within for, I don't know, it could be 2 weeks at a time, and then you reset based on your MMR to move you around as to where you need to go. Like, these are things that come off the top of my head. These guys are getting paid to do this, and you think, come on, guys, there's easier ways to fix this game.
Yeah, true. I like that actually. Even if it's like, it probably needs to be a bit more though, because obviously, even if like people just don't commit to the game for a certain time, you can't play. If there's like even like, you know, they did the leagues where it's like Gold 1 and it's kind of like Quinn's Avengers or something like that. If there's like loads of people in there, but if there's like Gold 1 to Gold 5, a few thousand people, like if you only play, then that's probably too many. I don't know. It's quite difficult to do that many people, because if you have too many people, yes, it is good that you know who they are and you're a regular, and if you're that regular twat, you're always going to be the regular twat, and then you're going to then be put on the regular twat list and play with everyone else and like get off. But the only thing is with that, the fewer people, the more you know, but then if less people are on, then it's kind of like you probably won't get as many games, that kind of thing as well. So there needs to be like a certain amount, but I can see that working in a way.
I think this game is a 5-player game. It's not a game to be played individually or in 2s. So that community pool, the purpose of it, I think, is to try and educate and push people into playing a 5-player game. You find you've got a pool of 50 people or whatever it is, and you're like, okay, I like these guys. These seem to play okay, and they're not dicks. I'll invite them as a friend, and we'll go play 5v5. And then you take all those good players out of the shit pool, and then by the end of it, you've just got a pool of shit people, and then you realise you can just leave them people. You can just fucking pie them off.
Yeah, I think as well. I think you're so dependent as well. Like I know we spoke about like it is a 5-player game. It's not a single-player game. You're so dependent on your team in terms of even like matchups and team composition. Compare it to like, I don't know, if we compare it to say even like COD, you could have like every single person in your Battle Royale 4-man team with an MP5 with the same gun. You don't have to have someone with a rocket launcher. You don't have to have someone with a sniper. You don't have to have someone else with like a machine gun. Like you can just get along with like that. In League, if everyone picks like, I don't know, a support champion, you're done. Like it's just not going to work. So you do out of any other game I think I've played rely so much more on other people.
And I do like the way they've changed the game recently, where they've started recommending items to counter the other team. And I wonder why, could they extend that into Champ Select? Because I think so many games are lost in Champ Select that if someone's gone, right, I've got Vayne top, I've got Quinn jungle or some bullshit, and then I've got another AD carry, and you're thinking, right, your tanks need to be your mid lane and your support. Like you need to make up the ground. There's no education on team comps at all unless you go outside of the game.
True.
So that might be an idea.
I like that. Fit. Yeah.
Right, sign me up, Riot, when you're ready.
If you're listening, meet Ed 14. He wants an apprenticeship.
Meathead 14.
I want you banned.
Riot Meathead 14.
IGN, get out, man. Oh, goodness me. Yeah. Well, apart from that, guys, for League, that's kind of like the main points I've got. Is there anything else that you've thought off the top of your head that you think we haven't discussed about, or anything you think that needs to be said? Like,
Timo should just be shot.
Okay, understandable. Would you?
I think I don't. Sorry, carry on.
No, I was going to say that if someone ever came to you now and was like, "Oh, I'm really looking at getting into this game, League," what would you say to them?
Probably don't.
Oh, honestly, no.
Get into WoW instead, it'd be more fun.
Oh God.
Well, I'd just say, if you want to play it, play it. It's good. It's not a bad game. I just say I haven't played it that much recently, so I can't give you that much info on how to play it at the moment. But it's a decent game. It's worth doing. I think the only thing I think they should do is a few League people complain about it on the subreddit, but I do think they should probably give TFT its own client now if they're going to keep doing all these passes and things, because all their other games are in different clients. So that way, at least it just keeps the League stuff to the League stuff. Sort of thing.
I like that actually. Probably puts less strain on the client, because yesterday when we tried to do Clash on fives, the game didn't. Oh, this is a good story actually. So we tried to do Clash. We signed up for it, got into the champ select, and the whole Clash-like client bugged, and nothing would work, and only a few people could log in. But the only thing with Clash is, if you leave champ select, it doesn't you don't lose. It just automatically picks champions for you. So I'm like sharing my screen, being like, "Oh lads, I'm trying to get in now." It gets me in to champ select. I get in. For some reason, both teams have banned no champions, so that's already a great start. Our top lane has gone Flash Smite Orianna. We've got a Ghost Heal Draven, and I'm playing Flash Ignite Fiddlesticks. So then, that's going great. So the loading banner comes up, and it's only up to 30%, so only 3 people have joined the game. So me and like 2 of them on the enemy team, because everyone else in Discord's been like, I've just got black screen. And we load into the game, and there's just me versus Darius mid, and there's the enemy team's got a Poppy top lane, just chilling. And for 10 minutes, we just pushed against each other again and again and again. And after a bit, somehow, by luck, the other team spawned more people, so they were able to push down turrets more and win. And I was just on my own, just like, well, this is a great game, isn't it? And then we lost. It was really fun.
Yeah, it's difficult to keep up the big strain of this kind of thing. I don't know why. I don't understand why Clash crashes the game for them either, because all it is a 5v5 game, but with people who've selected their own champions. Surely it's no different to like a custom 5v5. Just you've match made it.
I just don't understand how like a $1 billion company can't just do anything to their client to make it better. To be honest.
Yeah, even just to me, like even just the fact, like when I try and think about it, I would understand more if it was like TFT crash, because it's something that's a completely different game. It's just in the client, but like Clash is literally just 5v5 league with a little fancy like leaderboard in it as well.
Oh, you get little badges.
That's
well.
it. Oh yeah, true. Sorry.
You know, choose your team name.
Like, throw some banners in there. That's it. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. I don't know, but that's what I would say. Try to do. But yeah, anything else we've got on League at all?
Nah.
No, we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Fair play. Well, yeah, that's kind of the main topic done through. So, what we do have next, which is more of a fun thing, I'd say. I think we'll give it a try, but I kind of thought it'd be a good thing if each week or week and a half, as we've kind of done it now, if we kind of chose between us or had one ready, which would be quite good, to choose a film which maybe we watched before or haven't watched, which could be or could not be related to next week's topic. And then we'll talk about it, go through it, what we liked, what we disliked, anything about that. And again, if anyone does watch, any emails or comments you have talking about what was good, what was bad, and that kind of stuff. But yeah, well, you never know.
Are you asking for recommendations?
Yeah, anyone.
Troll Hunt. It's got to be related to the next podcast. I don't know, but The Gentleman's really good if you haven't seen that.
The Gentleman? I have not actually. Is that, when was it released, last year?
Last year, 2019. No, 2 years ago. But yeah, 2 years ago. I'm pretty sure it was 2019 anyway.
Don't think I have. Luke, have you seen it?
The
I went and saw it in the cinema. That's how I know it must have been about 2019. I was in a cinema watching it.
Wow.
Yeah,
cinema, that ancient place.
Film.
Oh wow.
A bit like it's kind of like Lock, Stock and things like that, but it's really good. That's why I said you probably wouldn't be able to, unless you want the next podcast to be like, we've all got to go out and commit a few crimes and come back and report on them.
Legend.
I have. That is a
What
good
did you
movie.
do?
No, it's because you don't. We'll do it, and we'll watch the Gentleman, and at the end of next week's episode, we'll come back, talk about it for a bit. What was good, what was bad, and then we'll choose a new one. Apart from that,
You vetoed my Troll Hunter recommendation.
that's got to be saved for like a special episode. Troll Hunter. Young, have you seen Troll Hunter before?
No, so yeah, let's save it for a special episode.
Oh.
You're in for a treat.
You better get your Norwegian.
You're in for a treat. The future isn't ready.
You better get your Norwegian ready because that's in subtitles. Loving life. Oh, nothing better.
We're gone. Get Ollie round.
Oh god. But yeah, apart from that, thanks guys. It's been a pleasure as ever. We'll be on next week at some point. If you haven't yet, as I'm going to put this on, like the video, comment what you think was good or was bad. Subscribe as well to see some future stuff, and hopefully we'll be back soon. Yeah. Anyone else want to mention anything before I go?
Nothing off the top of my head.
One of the things you just said.
Good
Never
answers.
watches again.
Brilliant. Love it. Nice one, guys. See you later.
Ciao.
Peace.